The primary issue with Nigeria is that it has been destroyed beyond repairs. So if you are going to be able to preserve Nigeria, you have to actually reimagine Nigeria and then sell your new image of Nigeria to the Nigerians. Because
the issue of Biafra is something nobody, for any reason, should sweep under the carpet. When Nnamdi Kanu said, Biafra is a spirit, people don't understand. Even up till now, many chant it, but they still don't understand.
All of you, you're not ashamed of yourselves. You have no shame. As somebody will say, your shame is shaming me. I'm telling you, you people from the zoo, I'm ashamed of your ignorance and stupidity. You people are hopeless, completely hopeless. One day I want idiot to come and say, we are intellectuals.
You see what the northern leaders saying? That God will punish all of us for us. I mean, talk. You see, when I deny on our brothers' education so that they will destroy this country for us. As they build and they destroy them. Imagine Aboki the common iron on that bridge. God.
Hello, sir. I want to call your attention to this. This is the bridge that was constructed all the way from Alakija to link inside the First Start. These scavengers have started removing iron from the pillar that support the bridge. You can see it, sir.
The newly constructed bridge or flyover. I never see this one before. In fact, in my life, I never see this kind of thing. They hit the pillars, they remove the iron. Hey, this one off me, oh, I never see this kind of one before. So they chop them like rats. They come out and small. One day the bridge will now do, wow. How did they break and they come out the iron? I never understand this one. I beg, make una follow me look.
You see what the northern leaders saying? That God will punish all of us for us. I mean, talk. You see, I think God will punish you. Erufai, God will punish you. Konkoso, God will punish you. When I share the video, me then say, Governor Abba of Kano State, now God will punish you per se. You hear me? No being so. This one is my prayer for una. Una deny on our brothers' education so that they will destroy this country for us. As they build and they destroy them. Imagine Aboki the common iron on that bridge. God. If the bridge can't later collapse, now Tinubu na go dey call in name. Road where they don't construct newly, Abuja to Kaduna Express, where Aboki the common iron inside. This thing 10-year-old pikin no fit do am for South. You understand? Now to the marry give your brothers only una sabi. You understand? See, now God will help us punish all the northern leaders. Besides, una no even deserve any respect from us. You hear me? No be insult. Now my prayer for una be that. And you will post this video yesterday where they say now because of security personnel no did there. Now God will punish you for us because if they try to tell us say you say to say security no dey, if you do this kind of thing. Imagine this kind of thing. Person they tell me say he go Lagos, may enter train go Abuja. They tell am say train no they go north again. Say Aboki don't come out all the irons for train track. See, all these northern leaders and God will punish all of una. Say amen for comment section. God will help us punish all of una for us.
Sure, I don't say I'm not be say them say the evidence there where they chop the pillars, they remove the iron. Oh boy, I never see this kind of one before. Yes, such thing is everywhere. Even in the southeast is there. The other day I showed a video of the second Niger bridge where they have removed the covers, the cover of the drainage, iron one. Well, some people say Aboki people, they come out them, all these iron condemned people. Well, I don't know, but right now there are cameras on the bridge. So, but this one for the cement, for the pillar, they knock them, they remove them. Hey, one day they go knock person house, so person go come out, they they knock the edge of the house, come out. One day you go say they don't chop one side of your house. You go yeah, hey, voila, they for this country. But that guy, they para say they.
Okay, now just observe something. This video that you are looking at now is a complete video of that first one I showed. The first one was just part of it, but this one is the complete one. Well, you can watch this one and see which one is saying the truth. I don't need to start saying that, but watch. This one happened in Lagos.
This is, sir. You can see how terrible it is here, sir. They dug into under the bridge, the overhead bridge connecting inside Festac from Alakija. It's very terrible. Hello, sir. I want to call your attention to this. This is the bridge that was constructed all the way from Alakija to link inside Festac. These scavengers have started removing iron from the pillar that supports the bridge. You can see it, sir. This is what they have been doing. All the pillar holding the bridge, they have started removing the iron. They break the concrete and they started removing the iron. You can see, this is where we are now. See the way it was. This is the way it was. This is where we are now. It is very disturbing. How can scavengers be doing this in Lagos? This bridge was constructed by FHA about 5 years ago. But see what it has turned to become. Within the next 2 years, what they would have done to this bridge, I mean, it is imminent collapse. You can see. See it, sir. See the beginning. So as we progress, see how they have dug into the reinforcement of the bridge. Okay, you need to call attention of your authority to this. It is extremely bad. They used billions of naira to construct this, and see what scavengers have done. And this is what we are doing on a daily basis to make sure that this does not happen in Lagos. This is it. Sherry, you can see under this bridge. This is a bridge being used by heavy duty vehicles. Now they have excavated the sand, the cable, the iron under this bridge. See, this is like 4 meters right under it. 4 meters. Okay? It's disturbing and very bad.
Well, let's hear from Dele. He has something to tell us from his own angle, that he's blaming the masses completely for what is happening in Nigeria and not even, the other side, both sides, but more on the masses. Let's hear him.
For me, my disappointment is more with the people who would be willing to embrace the delusional lies of the possibility of anything changing or improving if either Tinubu or his twin brother Atiku or Etiku should become the president. They are actually twin horsemen of the apocalypse. They are not different. They are the same. You can actually produce an identikit that fits both. Both are criminal in nature and intent. Both have public records of extreme avarice and stealing. Both are integrity challenged. The difference is that we don't know the true name, age, and parentage of one. The other one at least has a credible story as to his provenance in the public space. So what you are actually seeing, you are looking at two dogs. One is a mongrel, the other is an Alsatian, but they are both dogs. So it's not like they have presented us, the species is the same. So it is up to Nigerians to look beyond those two, because frankly speaking, you will notice that I haven't spent much time on Atiku, because there's really nothing to say about him. He has sufficiently introduced himself. Obasanjo has done a fantastic job of defining him, so we already know him. But Tinubu, because of his ownership of a lot of press levers, the purchase of the intellectual kaku makers, you find that he's not properly interrogated and people are dancing around the issues when they are talking about him because they've all fed from his table. Feeding from his table has meant that a lot of illusions have been allowed to travel undispelled for too long. So when you are dealing with Tinubu, you are dealing with the falsehood of stories of the success story that Lagos is. What success story, for heaven's sake?
Now, let's also look beyond Atiku. Clearly, I read one of your recent tweets where you actually talked about the only plan he has is corruption. What about Peter Obi, for example? Peter Obi has actually garnered so much in terms of followership.
We are the ones who need to recruit our leaders. If our leaders are non-existent and Nigeria has none, and Peter Obi has come out and is offering leadership qualities, he has proven himself in a state, even though there are people who challenges his records in Anambra, but it has traveled long enough for us to say that reasonably he must have done well in Anambra. Now, if he has done well in Anambra and is coming to Nigeria, he must understand something. The primary issue with Nigeria is that it has been destroyed beyond repairs. So if you are going to be able to preserve Nigeria, you have to actually reimagine Nigeria and then sell your new image of Nigeria to the Nigerians. Because it's a democracy, it's not going to be all Nigerians that you can sell your ideas to. But if you sell your ideas to sufficient numbers as to propel a movement for change, then you are a leader.
But some of your critics might say, or actually says that if it's not, do you think the Muslims, northerners, will allow the constitution to be redesigned to remove their advantages?
You see, this is the first thing that pains me when these questions are asked. What advantages? Whose advantages? The only persons that Nigeria currently advantages are the members of the ruling class. The people in Kankara, they are Fulanis. Zamfara is Fulani and Hausa almost equally divided. The northeast, the Boronus and the Boronus and the Fulanis, and then a lot of minorities. Who is enjoying Nigeria the way it is? Why are we afraid to confront our problems with ideas because the ideas will be unpopular? Why? They might be unpopular. Yes, explain it to them. Speak to people in relatable terms. Is it that the man in the northeast and the northwest does not want good life for themselves and their children? Do they understand how the structural lopsidedness of Nigeria makes it impossible to develop infrastructure? Do they understand that once upon a time, the same country that had only 4 regions now has 36 states and a federal capital, each of which has a governor, a state house of assembly? Once upon a time, there were more local governments in the southern, in fact, Yoruba land, the west, had more local government than the whole of northern Nigeria, because local governments were not the basis for sharing revenue. They were basis for locating development, and the western region was interested in urbanizing and developing its space. So they created a lot of local governments, but today, you create local government based on land mass, whether there are people there or not. These so-called advantages, how does it trickle down to the common man on the streets of northern Nigeria? These advantages are claimed in the names of Arewa, but it accrues only to members of their feudal ruling class. It has never percolated down to the people. Why is it that we are afraid to speak to ourselves? Because, you see, we have made it so easy for Nigeria to perpetrate lies, just to be lying. What northern Nigeria? Who are these northern Nigerians? Are the people of the plateau part of this northern Nigeria that does not want restructuring? The people in Bauchi, are they one of them as well? All those parts of Bauchi, the Tangali people, so they don't want this restructuring. The Jukuns in Taraba do not want this restructuring. Are they not in northern Nigeria as well? Who is northern Nigeria? Who are the northern? It is important that we dispel these myths by confronting the issues with truth. If the people in northern Nigeria don't like it, that does not earn them a veto over the rest of Nigeria that might want it. Just as the South cannot on its own gain power without the acquiescence of the North cannot gain power without the acquiescence of the South. This is something, so at any point in time, we must all understand that the restructuring we are talking about is not meant to disadvantage anybody. It is meant to make life easier for all of us. And just because one party is saying it doesn't want it, does not mean that those of us who want it should give up on demanding what we believe to be right. We can have this disagreement. We can have this argument. But we must be able to agree on what the facts are, what the truths are. Then we can now begin to argue about opinions. Nigeria is not working. It is not working. And it cannot work on the imperatives of an ethno-religious bloc. It can't. It has to be a consensus of...
You've heard Dele Farotimi from his own angle. I know him so well, at least from his own videos, what he can be able to say. You know, they fear anybody first, and that is him. Well, we believe that one day, something good will come out from this country called Nigeria, and everybody will be happy. Every region will be happy. We believe that something good will come out. If not so soon, but very soon. Well, the Biafra people are trying to sweep under the carpet. E no go walk. E no go walk. Oh. The Biafra agitation must be attended to. Something is fueling the agitation. The behavior coming from the Nigerian side is fueling the agitation for Biafra. Well, let's hear from this our lady. He has something to tell us, something that you need to listen to. Because it's not this thing that they are doing. It must be given attention before things will work out well. Let's go there.
This is what I think. And I am tempted to believe that I am sure about what I think. What I think is actually the reality. And what is that? The issue of Biafra is something nobody, for any reason, should sweep under the carpet. When Nnamdi Kanu said, Biafra is a spirit, people don't understand. Even up till now, many chant it, but they still don't understand. I pay attention to things that have been unfolding from the time I became full aware of what is going on in the country and the agitation of the Biafra. Something tells me, I'm not just a pastor, I'm also a spiritual person. The case of Biafra, no exaggeration, is the case between Israel and Egypt. Many leaders in the past, in the country Nigeria, have resisted Biafra, granting Biafra the freedom they're looking for. And they got to this point. And a lot of people have done many terrible things to make sure that Biafra did not come. There's an adage in Igbo land. You cannot cover pregnancy with your pan. There are things that are ordained. These things are ordained. You can fight it for all you care. But there's a limit to what you can do. If you check truly, the issue of Biafra has gone a long time that nobody is tired. When it looks as if they want to suppress, God will raise somebody else to carry on. There is something in it. Because the level of marginalization, the level of wickedness they have meted on Biafrans is enough to kill both soul, spirit, and body. They've used abuse, different kind of abuse, attacks, killing, and the more they're killing, more people are rising. Many people's lives have been laid to rest accidentally because of this pursuit. But many, in fact, more people are rising now to the occasion. And something tells me that if this country does not take time, Biafra issue will nail them. But that made me to start thinking, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, I may not be able to quote him exactly, but he says something like, if they refuse to let Biafra go, that he will destroy the zoo. Oh my God. What is happening in that country now? Does it not look like something that is destroyed? Who else think normal in that place? But the sad thing is that I've taken a little study, more research, trying to find out stuff for myself, so that when I'm saying things, I can say things that are accurate. This is not a time for somebody to hide. This is a time to speak the truth, no matter whose ox is God. I got to know that some of our leaders in the past, especially former state governors and rest of them, many of them participated in silencing the Biafra. You ask me, what are their reasons? Can they not see? Did they not see the handwriting on the wall? Was there any confusion? Is it just betrayal capacity? What is their problem? Because I actually know very well that the federal government cannot just come and begin to, tag Biafra agitation or IPOB, what is it called again? Terrorist organization. If some of our leaders did not lend their voice to it, in fact, they didn't lend their voice, they started the talk, they started the madness, and these people now had a hold based on what they have said and began to attack us as a terrorist group. How? Biafra was started, or IPOB in particular, started on a platter of no violence. We're just expressing ourselves, saying what we need, not attacking anybody. Then how do you take a harmless organization and target terrorist group? Now let me touch a little thing there. What is happening is spiritual. Take it or leave it. I'm not trying to spiritualize everything. What's happening is spiritual, in the sense that already Mazi mentioned, all of us began to pick it, that Biafra is a spirit. It's not dying. Anybody thinking they're going to kill it very soon is wasting their time. Spirits don't die. If you think you're going to, attack and humiliate and humble the flesh, accommodating it moves over to the next person. But right now, there are many people carrying the spirit of Biafra. So you can't kill us, all right? So, you can't kill the spirit. What am I trying to say? If you come to understand the strategies they've used in fighting Biafra, making sure it does not come, you can see that it's not just a physical thing. Spiritual, whatever, was also, they've taken some spiritual measures. And let me tell you how witchcraft operates to some extent. Witchcraft operates through accusation. Witches don't just get up and kill somebody. They first of all, to accuse and accuse, accumulate evidence, whether negative, positive, false, or true. They need evidence. They need somebody to submit somebody. Then they will hold it and begin to operate. And that is why when some of these our people begin to lie against the IPOB, begin to lie against the leader, our leader Nnamdi Kanu, with all forms and stature of lies, is to create enough weight so that the oppressors can see what they lay hold of to begin to attack, either to kill or to sentence Mazi to life imprisonment. So right now, that is why somebody like me did not take whatever the expelled people did. All the lies, stories they generated is from the point of witchcraft. I can tell you that. So if you think that this agitation is still just physical, it is a lie. So all those accusations are generated from the point of witchcraft, so that they can see how those things can be laid. These people will grab it, lay hold of it, and begin to, make their stand. We understand those things. So that is why somebody like me also put my foot on ground, to disorganize all those their satanic gathering and all that. So what are we saying? At this point, I am sensing that the hand of God upon Biafra is closer than any of us think. No, it's closer than that. And until they let us go, until the pharaohs let us go, just like the way it was in the Bible, they themselves may continue to be under the judgment of God. In 2021, right where I was, not in Nigeria, I had a revelation whereby I was trying to come home and I was walking, you know the way airport is, I was trying to walk on the stairs to the lift. I saw Nigerian flag the way it is, the one that the flag itself fell on the ground. Everybody that was passing was stepping on it. It looked too dirty. I tried to find out what it was, though the revelation was very clear. It happened on 2 occasions. And what the Lord told me is that Nigeria is not going to be what we think it is or what it has been all the years. That was even since when the country was on the floor. Everybody was trampling upon it, visitors. It was in a very dirty form. I stood to look at it. It was brought before me to understand the state of the nation. At another time, I saw a country emerge like a crystal color, transparent, emerged and came up. That was when I knew that something has been concluded in the realm of the spirit. So my encouragement is, do not think we are wasting our time. Something is cooking. God is cooking something for us. The hand of God is closer than we think. Now, but I'm thinking other things. Let the stiff-necked people not pay a serious price for holding Biafrans back. Now, why is it that Biafrans want to leave in the first place? They've been wicked to us, marginalized us, treated us with ultimate wickedness. And I know that God is a God of justice. And God said in the scriptures that he is continuously angry with the wicked. God never loved wickedness. And some people have been crying, calling upon him, calling on his name. And God have decided to step in and do what no man can do. And when God have decided to do a thing, nobody can stand on his way. Then if you want to stand on his way, he will use you and wage trailer. Okay? So let's have it in mind that if the continuous sabotage against Biafra freedom, many people will begin to pay with something they can never recover from. So right now I want to say thank you for all the people who have been lending their voices, for all the people who have been standing with us. Please, this flag or logo up here is our Radio Biafra homeland. Please, I want you to follow us on Facebook and other places. This is our new radio station, powerful. A lot is going to be happening on it. Thank you, and may God bless you. In Jesus' name, amen. I am PLM, and this is PLM Books. So please share this, like it. Let me hear your views on this. God bless you.
It is very, very shocking that some of you do not understand what the Fulanis have in store for you. Very, very soon it is going to happen. And when it happens, your eyes will clear. And about whom you will see it very clearly. I was warning you. It is the spillover of their same, should I say, terror effects that we are feeling right across the South. That was why we said with the launch of ESN that we cannot allow that nonsense to continue. They know they are not going to make any headway in the East. They have turned their attention to the West. They are forcibly occupying their land and telling them that they cannot do anything about it. A whole presidency in a country openly and brazenly supporting terrorists. All of you watching and listening all over the world, you know that Miyetti Allah is a terrorist organization. You know that. They have killed. They have said that Benue State is theirs for the taking as a spoil of war. All of you are aware of it. You know what they are doing. Anywhere you have Fulani headsmen, terrorists for that matter, they tell you, oh, they are pastoralists. They are allowed to do their businesses in the forest. All of you are aware of it. But you kept quiet, hoping that somehow Tinubu will emerge as the president, or an Igbo man will come as the president, and your family will start enjoying. But in the meantime, you have no more farmlands, you have no more forests, you have nowhere you can call your own home. The same stupidity exhibited by Hausa peasants that enabled Fulani to take Sokoto from them. that enabled Fulani to take Katsina from them, that enabled Fulani to take even Kanu from them. Every Hausa land is occupied either by a Fulani emir or a Fulani governor. Some of you don't want to reason. You don't ever learn that the main aim of Fulani is to conquer your land and enslave you. Look at Hausa people today. As I wrote yesterday, they are worse than a discarded tissue paper. They are worth nothing. Only their language is what is relevant in their lives. Everything else is lost. All of you are repeating the exact same mistakes that the Hausas made. That is why they are in trouble. And that is why they can never ever come out of it. They are all suffering from what I would an advanced version of the Stockholm Syndrome. Can you imagine that these people came into their land and took it over and they cannot do anything about it? Hausa is gone. It took Fulani very many years before they came out of their shell to say we are Fulani. Remember before, many years ago, they told you we are Hausa Fulani. We are Hausa Fulani. Because that time, their subjugation of the Hausa race hasn't been completed. Now they have completed it. Have they not completed it? And what is happening right now? I ask you what is happening now. Fulani have now come out to tell you we are Fulani people. Is that not what they are saying now? They are not telling you we are Fulani. No more Hausa Fulani. What does that tell you? That the Hausa race no longer exists. Do you want the same thing to happen to you? Do you want the same thing to happen to your families? To your villages? Do you want your towns, let's say Obomosho, to be renamed into a Fulani name? Do you want Onisha to answer a Fulani name? Forget all the nonsense about unity of Nigeria. All they are uniting against is your common interest. Unless you prefer epileptic power supply, unless you prepare to live your whole life without running water, unless you want to live in abject poverty and deprivation, your only alternative is a revolution. Let nobody discourage you. All the countries of the world doing very, very well, they all went through a revolution. You must go through it. If you don't go through it, you can never ever survive. As a people, Fulani will take you over. As simple as that. This very day, we are making it known to the whole world that the Muslim extremist dictatorship masquerading as a secular democratic government must be demolished. It must be demolished for you to survive. They have to be demolished. If you do not demolish them, your lives will end very, very miserably. I assure you. I assure you. The zoo is on its knees. Everybody knows that the zoo called Nigeria is on its knees. Who doesn't know that? Everybody knows. Nothing is functioning. You are all aware of it. When they say go and register for NIM or whatever, NIM or whatever rubbish is called, all of you trooped out without legislation, without any laws. Fulani can control you however they like. Once they announce it, Yoruba newspapers very foolishly and stupidly will support them because they want Tinubu as the president. And you are all dying every blessed day. You are all dying every day. Had you people risen up to say that what is happening in Nigeria is bad, there is no way that Fashoranti's daughter will not be alive today. That is the price you pay for duplicity. That is the price you pay for treachery. That is the price you will continue to pay until you rise up and say enough is enough. It is up to you to do it. You did it during NSAS. You can do it again. Can you imagine Fulani people telling you, if you remove Fulanis from Yoruba forest, imagine Fulani telling you, if you remove them from your ancestral lands, there will be war, and you are panicking. And you have not asked yourself, why are they not saying something about the East? Why did they not say to Eastern Security Network? Why did they not say to me, if you don't stop evacuating Fulani terrorists from the forest, there will be war? Because they know. They understand psychologically that you don't have what it takes to resist them. Do you know why Borno State is still alive? Why you still have the Kanuri people in Borno today? Was because they resisted the Fulani centuries ago. You have to go back to history to understand how Nigeria came into existence. Fulani has been expanding from day one, from Senegambia. All the way from Senegambia, they've been expanding, and now they are in Okigwe. All the way from Senegambia. They are now in Okigwe. And you're asking us to somehow fold our hands and keep quiet because of 2023, because one idiot is going to come out to become a president, because of that rubbish, because of that nonsensical notion, we should fold our hands and wait until we are overrun by the Janjaweed from the Sahel. Is that how reasonable people think? Is that how people that wish to survive as a race, is that how they reason? It is very, very shocking that some of you do not understand what the Fulanis have in store for you. Very, very soon it is going to happen. And when it happens, your eyes will clear. And about whom you will see it very clearly. I was warning you. In 2014, 2015, 2016, they said he's a warmonger. He's a warmongering. I went to America and I told World Igbo Congress that this war you are avoiding is going to come to your villages. They said, no, it's not going to happen. What is happening today? When Yoruba was supporting the dead idiot called Buhari, did I not warn them that this evil you're supporting will consume you? They never listened. They never wanted to listen. IPOB is a terrorist group. You're trying to divide Nigeria. But Mietiala is not. People that you are calling bandits, have you heard anybody come out to say, please Buhari, since presidency is there defending terrorists in the forest, why don't you proscribe them? No, you cannot proscribe a Fulani group. Never. And all of you, we are supporting evil. When there is the proscribed IPOB, proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. These are Yoruba journalists writing junk. Every day they keep writing rubbish. But their land is under siege. Their land is under siege. And the Fulani will take it. It doesn't take time. So I am here today to encourage them that they must stand tall and be very strong, resolute. That is what Fulani does. They control the media. They have well-paid consultants all over the world doing their bidding for them. They have that woman at UN trying to lobby the world that everything is okay in the zoo called Nigeria. But you and I know that the zoo is not okay. You and I know the game plan of the Fulani. And what are you doing about it? Nothing. Every day you read, you lament, you complain. Every day you read, you lament. And that's all you do. That is all you do. You read, you lament, you complain. You do nothing about it. Your lives are being taken away from you. Your forests are being occupied. Your mothers are being raped. Your daughters are being abducted. And the whole national government, presidency, is supporting such people. And you're telling me that Nigeria is viably sustainable. Is that what you're telling me? That somehow this contraption is sustainable, it is viable. It can never be. Because the more you stay in one Nigeria, the more you are inviting the Fulanis to take over your ancestral lands, to take over your villages, and to make life a misery for you. That is the end game. That is the outcome. If you doubt me, go and do a bit of research. Ask yourself, who are the Hausa people? Who are the Nupe people? Who are the Bachama people? All of these people were steamrolled by the Fulani march to the Atlantic Ocean. And now they're in Yoruba land. They're in their forests. They are in their forests. And who is going to drive them away from there? If not the Yoruba youths. Forget about your useless governors. Your elders are very strong. I love Yoruba elders. The way they behave, the way they talk. Very, very strong. They said they support Akeredolu. This is the governor of Ondo State. They support him in what he's doing. People must come out to say that enough is enough. When you travel to the north, do you live in the forest in the north? The Igbo people in Sabongeri in Kanu. Are they living of course it's Hausa land? Are they living in the forest? They came to the town. They work very hard. They build houses. They build mansions. They develop the entire place. Is that not what they do? What are Fulani people doing in our forest? Nobody can answer that question. They say that they're pastoralists. I want some of you have had your breakfast this morning. Please go to your fridge or go to where you keep your beverages and you will see pig milk. Pig. Some of us were raised on pig milk. For how many years now? And you keep asking yourself, what is pig milk? Pig milk is minerally the same milk that the cows produce in Holland can be produced in the zoo. Tell me the country in the world aspiring to be a member of the UN Security Council where you move cattle from place to place Are you people well at all? You so-called Nigerians, are you normal in the brain? I'm asking you a simple question. Show me a country that aspires to be in the 21st century, moving cattle from place to place, telling me they're grazing. Which country is that? Please tell me. All of you don't have any shame. When you have people, an entire presidency coming out to defend a very primitive, archaic agricultural practice, then you know you embrace serious mess. You are in one almighty trouble, I'm telling you. You people are in a mess. The Holland that you get your pig milk from, do they move cattle from Rotterdam to Amsterdam? I'm asking you a simple question. But they produce the pig milk that you're drinking every blessed day. Why can't Fulani produce pig milk in Sokoto? Why can't they produce Carnation milk in Kanu? They have the cattle. Before the white man came, did you see any Fulani in your forest? All these people talking rubbish about movement of cattle and movement of... I'm asking you, before Britain came and handed over Nigeria to Fulani, ask your grandfathers, please, or your grandmothers. Ask them. All this nonsense we are hearing today in this so-called one, I want to tell you the dangers of one Nigeria. All this nonsense you're hearing today about one Nigeria, Fulani in our forest, Fulani in our village. Before the white man came, did you see Fulani moving their cattle all over the place? Did we not have meat to eat? They will answer these questions for you. Because sometimes in Africa, we don't reason very well. The way we reason is disjointed. It is disjointed. I can't understand for the life of me why, instead of them to waste all that money arming and equipping this Janjaweed army Mihetiala to come and conquer you and I, why don't they open a milk factory somewhere in the north and bring the milk down south? I'm sure Southerners will buy it. After all, pig milk comes all the way from Holland. Pig milk all the way from Holland. Now you understand it. Because of the way you people reason. Why can't you produce? Is it difficult to produce milk? The same milk that comes out naturally from the udder of the cow. Why can't you can it somewhere, pasteurize it, and send it to people to eat, to drink, or to do whatever with? All over the world, that is what is happening. In fact, they produce so much milk in Europe that they pour it away. Why can't you do the same thing? A whole president claiming they are in the 21st century are supporting a very primitive practice of moving cattle from place to... All of you, you're not ashamed of yourselves. You have no shame. As somebody will say, your shame is shaming me. I'm telling you, you people from the zoo, I am ashamed of your ignorance and stupidity. You people are hopeless, completely hopeless. One day now, one idiot to come and say, we are intellectuals. And you're moving cattle from Kafanchan to Ahoda. You are intellectuals. You are intellectualizing. You are in the 21st century, you are moving cattle, driving cattle, Nama, from over 300 miles.
Lekwa Nigeria madosa ya Chineke nnade ngosi onye ọbụla na-ekpe ekpere ka Nigeria wee wuru ofu nna nke bridge dị ndị dị etu a wee laa ha n'iyi Chineke nna kiwe biko da kiwe kpọọ ha ọkụ kpọọ ezinụlọ ha ọkụ.
Yes, my people, I thank you for coming along with me. Please, if you have not subscribed to YangaLife channel, click on the subscription button, notification bell, like our videos, and don't forget to share them. Till I come your way next time, I say bye.